one of the Congress's big ideas, Manisha Priyam, now is that they will push for a caste census. Now the Congress in power didn't want this. Out of power they think that as the BJP brings Hindus together under the rubric of Hindutva, the one way to splinter the Hindu identity is to have a caste census. Then everyone's very conscious of their caste, not worrying so much about the Hindu umbrella. Is this an idea you think which has potential for 2024?
It does. I mean, it is the only idea that the opposition seems to have in their basket. Remember, Nitish Kumar was harboring this idea. It's been there. Naveen Patnaik has already been talking about the same thing. Both of them say we are somewhere.
Can this split Hindutva?
So it's been a classic divide, Mandal and Kamandal. Lalu stopping the so-called majestic Rath outside of Bihar. Then the Rath comes in, but the socialists say, okay, in combination we'll keep this out. So it's one more reincarnation of the Mandal idea.
This is what you study. Do you think Mandal can once again stop Kamandal?
I don't know whether it will happen or not, because the BJP itself has now imbibed so much of the Mandal. The BJP today is a reincarnated OBC party. Remember what the BJP did in Uttar Pradesh. It had a combination of extremes. It had a combination of Thakurwad, the upper caste with it, but also a very solid core of the OBCs go in that direction. The Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, for example, Modi ji's own identity, for example. In Bihar, you remember there was this afwah that was spread, oh, Mohan Bhagwat has said we'll end reservation. Immediately comes Narendra Modi and announces no. And
but that announcement killed their chances in 2015.
No, but you know, Mr. Modi has been able to project his identity being pro-Mandal rather than not.
Sandeep Shastri, this is the Congress's big idea. Not much discussion around it, because that wasn't the dominant theme in the Karnataka elections, but could be the dominant thing going forward. Jitni abadi utna hak. This idea of pushing for a caste-based census, could this be the idea that helps the opposition split Hindutva unity?
Rahul, it was part of the campaign. The whole Rainbow Social Coalition is about reaching out to those groups who they feel should be given a space in the political spectrum. And I'll go back to a point I made, Rahul. I think under a new Congress president, who also incidentally is from Karnataka, I think there is a greater caution in dealing with this infighting in the party. And that's the reason I said I do not see Rajasthan repeating itself, because you have a Congress president now in place who incidentally belongs to this state, and he would make sure that in his home state there are no challenges. Otherwise, how does he then lead the party across the country? So I think there will be irritations, there will be very, very hard bargaining, but I think ultimately DK Shivakumar would agree. Remember also that next year you have a Lok Sabha election. So it's critical for the Congress government in Karnataka to have this unity, because you are facing an election next year. And if that bickering starts, the party knows, and the party presumably realizes, that our chances of doing anything next year in Karnataka or anywhere else would be greatly
RP Singh, we saw how Bhagwat ji's comment in the 2015 election became a rallying point which Lalu Prasad Yadav used to create the scare against the BJP, RSS. Rahul Gandhi now officially adopting Nitish Kumar's plank of the caste census. Are you concerned that your efforts to unite all Hindu communities could be fractured by the Congress now? I don't know whether Rahul personally believes it or not, but politically he thinks this is a good idea, and now the Congress will push this in the months to come.
Well, Rahul, I would not like to comment on this because party still has to deliberate on this subject, but yes, it's a matter of concern. It's a matter of concern for every Indian and every Hindu who stays in this country.
Do you believe, Aiyshwarya, Mahadev, that's a good idea for a caste census? I mean, forget the party line for a second. The idea that we'll be split even further along caste lines, that more jobs will be reserved depending on caste. I mean, surely you don't think it's a good idea, or you can't say that on TV.
Rahul, I can I can tell you for a fact that I think it's a good idea, because social justice is something that is extremely important, and I believe constitutionally it is the responsibility of governments to ensure the implementation of these schemes to empower the communities that need it most. Communities are dynamic, castes are dynamic, you see socio-economic statuses being dynamic. So why is it that you cannot have a census that proportionately represents this sort of dynamic sort of flux and change? We believe for better delivery of schemes, for better implementation for those who rightly deserve it, the caste census here is extremely required. And if you want to talk about
Now
checks and
here's the thing, Manisha Prem, it's also a very emotional idea. You know, jobs are scarce, the youth
Can I
want
make a small
jobs,
point here also?
they think that they don't get them, and if they have better reservation, they'll get more jobs. So in their own limited self-interest, each person who could be a potential beneficiary will see advantage and could slide towards a side that is backing this idea, which is why RP Singh is as cautious as he is in trying to deal with this bullet.
No, it's going to be extremely tricky. You are right. Public sector jobs have been shrinking. We've not been able to, I mean, there's been such large-scale denationalization ever since 1991. And when we've embraced liberalization and privatization to such a high degree, now what benefit or what use would reservations serve? A reservation served a purpose when we were building the temples of modern India, we were building public sector undertakings, but when that pie is shrinking, I think we'll have a revolution of rising expectations and an inability to provide what is now referred to as bharti or niyukti, which means government jobs, as different from any other kind of naukri.
This is something that we'll hear a lot more about, and political parties, citizens, voters will have to wrap their head around whether they think a caste census is a good idea or not. For the time being, the Congress is pushing it. To the extent that it did, it played a role in the Karnataka campaign and could become one of the central issues of the Congress and the opposition campaign against Hindutva politics and against the BJP building up to 2024. So we will build on this. For the moment though, the big question is, will DK Shivakumar gamely accept Siddaramaiah becoming Chief Minister? Aiyshwarya Mahadev says it's not done. She'd like DK to be Chief Minister. That's not happening just this moment. He did have a phenomenal role to play, make no mistake about it, in bringing the Congress to power. He will have to wait his turn. Will there be a mid-term switchover like was promised in Rajasthan?